Now let's talk about Alfred. What do you
We
think
have to
about
agree, or are you going to say that nonsense about we have to agree to disagree?
No, we agree. You agree with me. I could have sworn I heard you say yes.
No, I never said yes to anything.
I did not hear you say no, so that's a yes.
Never said yes.
You didn't say no.
Didn't say yes either.
I'll go with the you didn't say no.
And I didn't say yes. So we got that for the record.
Alfred.
Gathered together from the cosmic reaches of the universe, here in this great hall of justice, are the most powerful forces of good ever assembled. Dedicated to truth, justice, and peace for all mankind.
Welcome everybody back to Spinner Act. Today is Vikings. We're going to talk about episodes 1 and 2. Here I am with my boy Cal, and we're going to be having a good time talking about one of our favorite characters, Ivar the Boneless. If you didn't like these episodes, I don't know what is going on with you guys. But hey, Cal, what do you think about it?
I don't know. I was not expecting Ivar the Boneless to become the main character of Vikings at all, particularly since Bjorn Ironson has the greatest legend of all of Ragnar Lothbrok's sons. I really don't know why they decided to do that and make everybody else. I mean, look, they have made everybody else a bit player for, Ivar the Boneless. I'm really not sure why.
Because he's an intriguing character, a legendary character, a character who conquered England and Ireland, whose descendants continue to run parts of Ireland for quite a long time. So yes.
But Bjorn Ironside's legacy is greater, so I don't understand why they decided to go with him.
Well, I don't know. Probably he just stands. But listen, we basically come back at the beginning of this episode. Bjorn, they've killed the kings who killed their father. The sons have avenged their father, and now is where they're starting off. Bjorn goes off to the Mediterranean to find himself. Basically, the sons decide to stay. Sigrid gets killed, and I guess it's the funeral of Sigrid, right? Is it Sigrid or Sigrid? He dies.
Sigurd Snake Eye.
Sigurd Snake Eye dies because Ivar accidentally threw a hatchet at him.
There was no accident. It was deliberate.
He says it several times in the episode.
He said he didn't mean to kill him. He said he threw it in anger, but he threw it accurately.
I think it was an accident. It accidentally killed his poor brother. It wasn't. No, he did not mean it. It was
his accident. Okay, accident. You lose an ear. Okay, you're dead. Not an accident. It was full on. We saw the show.
His brother seemed to just walk into that particular thing, but
by sitting.
Okay, so we agree to disagree. I think Ivar is clearly innocent on this charge, but other people can say what they want to say.
Please leave in the comments. In the comments. Okay, if you agree with this, let us know.
Listen, so Ivar and his brothers decide to stay in England and conquer, because of course their father had told them to stay there basically because they could raise their family. There's land for them to use. But my man, Ivar decides, let's not stay right here in the center of England where we'll be surrounded by enemies, but let's go to York, and there we will create a great kingdom run by the Danes.
We also have to remember Bjorn decides, look, I'm going to leave this to you guys. I got my own stuff to do. Okay, he doesn't stay there. But Ragnar already knew he wasn't going to stay anyway. He just came to avenge his father. He's returned now to the Mediterranean, and he's going to wreck shop there.
Yeah, so I mean, we basically don't see much of him. He just disappears for a little bit.
Yes.
Floki the Mad, Floki the Jokester, or AKA Loki himself, the boat builder, Ragnar's right-hand man. He basically decides to go off on his own, and once again, Ivar touches him and gives him a compass or a sundial, right? What is it?
Say a compass.
A compass to find his way, because he decides he's no longer worthy to be in Ivar's light, and therefore he must take his boat, a one-man boat, by the way, and try to find himself or go to the land of the gods.
That's how you felt about it? I just felt he left because everything was gone. Ragnar's dead. That's pretty much his closest friend. His wife is dead. He doesn't have any children.
Yeah, his daughter died. So they go on, and what ends up happening is he discovers the land of...
I have no idea where he is.
Iceland.
He's in Iceland?
That's where he discovers. He thinks he's in Asgard, but we all know he isn't.
No, that's what. Wouldn't that translate? Isn't Iceland supposed to be like Asgard in English?
No, I don't think so. Just Iceland.
Well,
so he goes.
I thought he was dead.
No.
He's been walking around. He's got like a bloody hand, and then his hand heals magically. And I'm like, okay. And he's seeing all these hallucinations. So I'm wondering, is it like the fumes from the water or something? Is he really dead?
He's taking something. He's taking something. I mean, but you have that whole blend of mythology with, what's going on. Because, Ragnar was touched by the gods. You saw the raven, the constant image of, that's the symbol of Odin. You see this over and over again, the imagery that they have from the Vikings and the sagas and the Norse gods. And, our boy Floki breaks out. But let's get back to the main thing. Our man Ivar. I mean, this show, let's call it what it is. This should be called the Ivar and Company show. Ivar goes to York. He tells his brothers, listen, let's take over York because we're close to our homeland of what is it? There's Scandinavia, Denmark, and we'll run this line. If there's any problems, we can always go home or get support. And it's a wonderful land. That's what they do. They go and just rip it up. You see how my man Ivar, he was talking to that dude and he said, dude, you want your gold? He opens it up and pours molten gold down his mouth. Oh, Ube, being the wussy brother he is, just couldn't take it anymore. Like, oh no, this man is Ivar the Boneless, for goodness sake.
Well, he seems to excel at cruelty, so I don't have any,
Cruelty? No. What did he say? He said, listen, I have to, they were talking about being, equal leaders of the army, that Ivar is not the leader. And Ivar had to point out, listen, I have to be better than you guys so that people will accept me as being equal to you. And
that's a little malarkey. His brothers never displayed anything, or any sort of disdain or leaving him behind or anything of that nature. So that's all, Ivar's malarkey, so he can try to justify the stuff he's doing, like killing his brother. And the cruelty,
he shouldn't have moved in the way.
And the cruelty that he's having. A couple of scenes I was interested in. He had that girl come in, she stripped for him, and he freed her. And I'm wondering if she gave him an erection at that instant, because he was kind of like, hey, what the hell is going on over here? I didn't think this was possible. Now that scene I wanted to see followed up. That was the only scene that interested me, because other than that, it's a new cast. And last season I thought they had some difficulty because Travis Fimmel as Ragnar, was such a large and impressive personality. And then I could see, okay, these aspects of his personality are shared by these much of his sons. No problem. We got rid of Sigurd, which isn't a big deal. He wasn't contributing that much anyway. But then, Ube is just, look, you just look totally ineffectual. That's a big problem right there. Okay, and what's the name?
I can't remember the name of the other brother.
Versik. He's just like, hey, I don't know who the hell I want to be with. He's like, hey, I'm going to sail with you. Well, no, I'm going to sail with you.
He tries to be in the middle, between the two brothers, between Ivar and...
He's a well-lubricated weather vane.
No, well...
Which gives us two characters at the end of the day who really and truly inherit Ragnar Lothbrok's legacy. Ivar the Boneless and Bjorn Ironson.
From two different mamas.
Now, and the problem I have, because we also have some stuff going on with Lagathar as well, but the problem I have with this is that so much has been heaped on, Ivar the Boneless, and you have an equally great legacy in Bjorn. To be honest, Bjorn's legacy is much more easy to find, to document, to expound upon, and everything that we're seeing with Ivar, him sitting there, I'm Ivar the Boneless, you can't kill me. I was like, you guys are a bunch of punks. One shot and this will be over. One shot. And they're all there urinating in their chainmail. It's ridiculous when I saw that scene, but everything to bolster this one character. Okay. You still have a very good legacy in another character, and to be quite honest, I know more about Bjorn from watching the series than I do about Ivar, who's just recently gestated as this character. So I'm still curious as to where this is going.
If you remember our first Vikings video, I called out that Ivar was going to be the ish in this show. This is from way back when he was a child.
I believe you are correct. Okay. As you definitely like the fact that he killed this other little kid because he was angry, and you wanted to see him do more of that you fall in line with this cruelty.
He was touched by the gods. His father said, "You are my son," as the one true who follows me. Floki said this is the leader to follow. I mean, they've been foreshadowing it for so long. You have to be a blind man not to see it. Bjorn's son, God knows what the hell's the matter with the dude.
Because he's his own man. He's been trying to be his own man and not live in his father's shadow his entire life.
Well, then he should have jumped in the shower and then he would be there.
Ivar, okay, is doing what? He's following. He's following in his footsteps, whereas Bjorn is leading and making his own legend.
So we have to agree who we think should be the center of the show. Now let's talk about Alfred. So what do you think about him? I mean, I got to say, I was pretty surprised that a little boy automatically became a man. But this is
that's all of them. everybody became a man like over the course of what, 6 months? Everybody's grown now. If only it was that easy.
If only. I mean,
I don't
Alfred
know.
is one tortured freaking soul. That's all I got to say.
Is this like the historical thing with Alfred? Because I noticed with the
It is.
What was the other one? The Last Kingdom, and they show that he seems to be. He's almost like this metaphysical otherworldliness to him, but he can't eat meat or something. He has problems with his digestion.
He's highly religious, and very highly religious, but at the same time he knows what he has to do, and because he does the things that the things that are not always according to his religion or according to the right worldview. You have to do some dirty things. So what ends up happening is that he feels regret and sorrow for those. And so you have this whole two things. He knows what you have to do to fight against the Vikings, but at the same time, he has to be pious. Remember, he was being trained to be a priest,
right?
And so he has all that training of what you have to do. I mean, we see him basically giving communion to that woman in the.
No, that wasn't Alfred. That was the other dude.
That was Alfred, wasn't it?
No, that was the bishop.
The bishop, right? That was the bishop, right?
And then I don't know what I didn't understand that scene at all. She wanted it, okay? And then
I thought he did. Didn't he run through the trees? He did something.
He ran through the trees because he ran through the trees because he just had the notion of like, yeah, I wouldn't mind, having my way with this chick, but I'm a bishop and I can't do it. He's like, please forgive me for this pride. I was like, but didn't they, like the first time we were introduced to him, he had already savaged some other woman. So I was like, hey, dude. Last time I checked, bishops could have sex. You weren't a monk or a priest or anything of that nature.
Yeah, I mean, and a great example of this, if you're a fan of history, people don't forget this, that in those days, they would give bishoprics, because those were powerful positions to brothers of kings or high nobles. And for example, one of the brothers of William the Conqueror, the guy who conquered England, his brother was a bishop, Otto, and he's famous for the great Bayeux.
But it was a title. It was a title like being an earl or a lord, not necessarily where you had to abstain from sex.
Right.
Okay. So this guy can.
They didn't get married, but they had side chicks on the side.
He can patty cake as much cake as he wants.
But
I didn't understand it.
But you did have two versions of the church where you shouldn't do that, and you also had the others like, who gives a damn? Let's just do what you got to do.
Well, then we've got conflicting stories with this guy because when we're introduced to him, he's like, hey, patty cake, baker's man. And then we see him over here. I'm so sorry for it. I'm like, oh, wait a second here. Okay, you're not making a lot of sense. Especially if you saw the scene with that woman. She took communion with a hearty swallow.
Well, this is what we say. This is a TV MA show. So we know things are going on. But again, all I got to say is,
there's more MA than I've ever seen on this show, man.
They're trying to make up because
we had full backside on a chick. I thought that was great.
Ragnar Lothbrok is not.
And did they show some topless scenes too? I think we got some topless this year.
Well, you see, someone is really focusing on those scenes. I'll watch the more historical episodes.
This is a historical drama, okay? This is a historical drama. So you go over there and pretend that this is actually historically accurate. I will focus on the historical drama, and that includes
the MA stuff.
That includes the nice boobies. But in all seriousness, this season I did notice there was a lot more. There just seems to be a lot more nudity than I ever saw in the series. I remember that first season, the most I ever saw was just like Lagertha showing some leg, and I was like, okay, so this is where they're going to go with it.
But Lagertha is the main character. She's not going to go all the way. She doesn't go.
Main characters go all the way all the time.
Well, no, she's not.
No, I don't think they could do it because we never saw any backside, even like male backside or anything, which doesn't even really matter to me. So we never saw anything.
Which I don't care to see. So.
Yeah, well, I don't care to see it either. But I just noticed this season. This season, they've actually been going there. They're like, we got to keep these ratings up.
Well, I'll be surprised. So what do you think about, so is there anything else you want to say about England, or do you want to move on to Lagertha? Because I think there's a lot of things to say about that right there.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, so Lagertha is basically, once again, running Kattegat. She is the queen, undeniably, but as always, she has issues.
She's doing a poor job of it.
So what happened? Harold, what is it, Harold what? He wanted to become the king of Norway last season, and he did it because this one woman that he was in love with said, hey, if you want to marry me, you need to become a king. But what ends up happening last season, as they start raiding England, she finds out that she married an earl, just another lord, and he was pissed. He ends up killing the Lord, and,
Yeah.
I think his brother killed her.
As Harold says, he doesn't have any luck with women because he didn't realize she was just putting him off. She gave him this impossible task because she was never going to give him anything. So when he finds out, of course he does the right thing. He kills her because she played with his feelings. You don't get to do that. And then we go on.
So basically, he comes back to Kattegat. He tried to conquer the city sneakily using another someone else, but now Lagertha knows this, and she captures him, imprisons him,
rapes him.
I don't know if you can really call that rape.
I'm joking. That's not rape.
Yeah, I know. Some people have been saying that's rape.
How's it rape? The guy had an erection. If he didn't want to, I could understand if she had to do something to actually, make it happen. Okay. All we ever heard, the biggest resistance we heard from him is, "What are you doing, woman?" Oh, that's what you're doing. Okay, we're good. We're good.
Exactly. And so, which it kind of isn't Lagertha's character, where she'll do whatever the hell she wants and she doesn't give a damn.
I found that scene to be very perplexing. I just didn't see the need for it.
I agree. There's no need, but I'm just saying it does also show that she's the character who's like, I don't care what you want, because she turns around and she has a meeting with her council of advisors, right? All women, and her lover Astrid is on her side, and Astrid is basically, so why did Harold come here? And he said basically he wants an alliance. He wants to marry me, and she's like, you turned him away, right? Because she knows Lagertha. Lagertha, if Ragnar would have had her back, I think she would have gone back to Ragnar.
Damn straight. That's the love of her life.
So
Astrid's not even the runner-up. She's the runner-up.
She's the side thought piece, so that's what she is. But, so things turn around. Harold gets out, escapes with his men, kills, of course, a couple of Lagertha's men.
And captures Astrid.
So that, to me, was the more perplexing of all things. What was his plan to get in there? I think they explain it later. But to me, why Astrid? That is why. Of all the people there, Bjorn's son.
Oh, he's not good. That's not
Bjorn's son. Bjorn's wife. Lagertha herself. But what was the key thing there? So if you have, please enunciate.
Oh, the best explanation comes from Harold. He needs a queen. Okay, without a queen, he's not going to be looked upon as a legitimate ruler by the people he's leading with, number one. And if he is successful, then he also needs heirs as well. So
Except
that's
for one slight little problem.
His choice of Astrid, however.
Exactly.
His choice of Astrid his choice of Astrid puts him on Ragnar Lothbrok territory with, hey, you must have been like 15 steps ahead of everybody else in knowing that Astrid would be someone to actually do this. And then, okay, you get me out. It's not like, all right, you got me out. Let's get the heck out of here. No, you got me out. Now go get this chick over here, Astrid, and then we can get the hell out of here. So it's very hard to understand the logic behind the whole thing. But we see that Astrid doesn't seem to have too much of a problem. She's falling in line. Eventually, all we got to do is wait for these guys to, have a little nookie, and we're good. And that's coming.
Yeah, but exactly, and that's, I guess, in episode 3 when he explains himself. And Astrid, the problem that I have here is, as we can see in her relationship from last year, and why she was so angry with Lagertha and she left and got kidnapped, is that she is in love with Lagertha. She has a relationship with Lagertha, and then all of a sudden, it's a flip. So that's why I'm saying,
Lagertha has only loved 2 men her entire life.
Bjorn, her son,
and Ragnar Lothbrok. Right. That's it. Everybody else, well, who's the other cat? The guy who usurped her throne, but I can't remember his name right now. Sorry.
But then she killed him in the bed.
No, but I think she's felt fondly for him at the end of the day. But aside of that, hey man, this is look, man, you got on a bad side. She was gonna stab you in the eye. Okay, so Astrid Astrid has to be realistic about it. She has already had the great loves of her life, and you come into this and like, well, hey, look, I'm all in and all originally in love and everything. It's like, hey, you got to understand where your place is. She's never going to be able to do that for you. Okay, people just aren't made like that where I can have 18 loves in my life and none of them were there. You have to understand, hey, enjoy the time that you have with her, okay? But that stuff that you want from her, if you want that, you have to find somebody else. This woman right over here has already given her heart, okay? And it's gone. All right? She still has the ability to be compassionate, maybe even, to love, but not what you're looking for.
Exactly.
Sorry, Astrid. Marry King Harold.
Well, I don't think she would, because the only reason she's still, I think, like you said, one of the love of her life is her son, Bjorn. And the whole reason she's holding Kattegat, yeah, she likes the power and stuff. She's holding it for one man and one man alone, and that's Bjornsson. That is who she will give that kingdom to. She's like, this is his birthright. His father got it for him. I'm holding it, and I'm passing it on to my son. That's the only reason I'm saying she's there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say? Of course, she loved the power.
That's the only. Yeah, I mean, she has had no problem with that since the moment she divorced Ragnar,
Right.
went off, became and became an earl in her own right. Okay, she's usurped power more than once. So that's not a big deal at the end of the day for us to understand when it comes to her character. What we will be seeing in Kattegat, without any doubt, is a civil war, and we'll see Ube. Is it Ube or Uba?
I think it's Ube. We can call him Ube.
Yeah. We'll see Ube, and we'll see him on this. He'll more than likely be on the side of Lagertha because he doesn't have anybody to stand with him at this point. He's just been totally made a eunuch by Ivar the Boneless.
And you see how Ivar takes over the whole army. He is now. I love the name, the Great Heathen.
The Great Heathen Army.
Great Heathen. I mean, you can't. And this is a
now,
realistic.
Ivar's
that's
never,
what it's called.
Ivar's never going back to Kattegat. Okay, I hope we understand.
Oh, yeah, he's going back for one reason only: to kill Lagertha.
Well, no, that's not going to happen. So
he's the only one who's consistently said we've got to kill her. He's the only one who's tried to plot to kill her. The others are like,
and that's going to run. Well, you know what? Let's see.
That's the battle.
I don't see him ever going back because I think he's going to be so successful with his rampage across England and then into Ireland as well that he's going to have to stay there to maintain it. He can't necessarily trust people towards it. But if he's still dead set on avenging his mother, then yeah, we'll get to see that. We'll get to see that play out. But anybody who kills Lagertha is going to have to contend with Bjorn, and none of these guys are Bjorn's mettle. None of them.
Well, I mean, I think you're right. Bjorn's pretty dead, but I think Lagertha is not a slouch herself. I mean, she's not someone you can just easily knock over.
I don't think she's easy to knock over, but we've already with Ragnar, passing away, and Floki out of the picture. We won't see him for very much longer, and a lot of the older guard, slowly but surely also moving out of the picture. I don't see how Lagertha holds on for much longer, okay? Especially since, like what you said, she's holding this not for herself. She's holding this for Bjorn. How much longer is she really going to need to hold it? I mean,
she's one of the most popular characters on the show. Look,
yeah,
we like Ragnar,
but so was Ragnar.
No,
He's
Ragnar
gone.
but Ragnar had to go. That's the only way for the show to continue. I mean, you couldn't extend his theory forever, but he had to go. But Lagertha can still play that in between until her son is set up or whatever, or as a queen mother. I don't see another female character in that show.
She's the best looking 60-year-old woman I've ever seen, because that's how old she should be on this show. But
well, not really. They get married very young. You get married 14, 15. You have kids. Ragnar, Bjorn's got to be the oldest. So let's say he's 25. She's only 20. What? She's only 39.
No, I think she's older.
But
hey, that's just me.
But I'm saying, if just looking in terms of characters in the show, they have not developed another female character to the level they have. Ragnar Lagertha.
That was the same thing with Ragnar. No other male character.
Yes, they did. Ivar. They kept on saying Ivar.
No. Those are all just hints.
Go back to the first episode.
Okay.
Go back. Ivar was destined to be the man.
Helga was also a very well developed character, and we forget that because she's been dead for the time that she's been dead. Look. Here's the thing. She can't stay there forever. She's got to go because these guys have to inherit their own. The next generation has to come through. What you need to start doing is the same thing they did, okay, with Ivar, okay, with Uva, with Bjorn. You have to start bringing in some new female characters to develop. She can't stay there forever because she's the most well developed. She's got to go too.
All right, well, I can see your point. They do have to do that. But I think at the very end, what they're doing, this is all predict. This is what we think could happen. If it does, put it in the comments. Yo, as always, Mars, you're the freaking right man. You know what you're talking about. You have that foresight. You have that Odin vision. You know what I'm trying to say. But what I think you should...
Did you just give a shout out to Mars?
Yeah.
Is that what you just did?
Gave a shout out to Mars. To myself. Listen, what I'm trying to say, dude...
Don't let me catch you, Mars.
What I'm trying to say, dude, is that it's really turning out to be Bjorn's son and Ivar. That's who it's going to be. And then you're going to have Alfred in the middle.
Yeah, without any doubt, that's how it shapes up, because Ethelwulf is not going to be able to contend with. Well, he's just not going to be able to contend. I don't know, because I keep saying they keep putting up these defenses, and I was like, but I'm watching this. I was like, all of these defenses are going to fail just because of the history. These guys rampaged. Alfred's kingdom was the last kingdom because it was the last kingdom standing.
Right.
Amongst all of that. I hate to plug another show while we're here, but if you're enjoying Vikings and you haven't seen The Last Kingdom, that is a very good follow-up. That's a very good follow-up.
And we are going to do a review of that, okay? It is a great, and if you read the books by Bernard Cornwell, fantastic books.
Yeah, it's got 2 seasons in the can. We'll probably start reviewing by the time season 3 is out. So we can just, do a whole nice thing for you right there.
Probably sooner. All right, so is there anything else you want to say?
No, I'm enjoying it. Looking forward to it. It's got a nice. It's a good lead-in for the follow-up show, Nightfall.
Which we will be doing soon.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, I think some of the decisions are questionable, but hey, that's just good criticism on my part. I can just sit back and enjoy it when I don't have to be a critic.
Well, I'm just going to go back once again to my previous criticism in our last episode about this. Why the hell? Because the poor dude is crippled. He can't have kids. You know, I don't think.
No, that's what I'm saying. When the chick got naked, okay, and she was over there giving him the booty dance.
Right, but he didn't. But remember, they said he'll never be able to perform as a man. You know, meaning he'll have kids. That's what I'm thinking. You're thinking performance. I'm thinking being produce progeny. Is it both? This is the same thing. I'm thinking two things. I don't think I.
Well, no, because you can get. Okay, look, we don't. When they were talking, there's a difference between being impotent and being infertile.
Right.
Okay. So, and it historically, they knew how to get the stuff if they wanted it. Okay. There were ways that they could go about doing it the same way that there are ways that we can go about doing it today. But I think in that sequence, when that girl stripped for him, okay, and gave him that, Viking lap dance or whatever it was that she did, I think he actually had an erection right there, and that's why he freed her, because he was so shocked. He didn't think it was possible. I think it didn't happen with that other girl.
Because she had all the brothers? I mean, what else?
Well, possible. I think it was one because it was all the brothers, and I think maybe he had all this pressure on himself, to get it done. She, of course, was terrified of it not getting done because she did not want to be killed. With this one right over here, I think he was just sitting back, relaxed. He's in the seat of power, and then he's like, "Hey, oh my God! I didn't think this was possible." Because other than that, why in the world did he free her? It's not like he hasn't seen a naked woman before.
Good point. Good point.
And that would allow him to, because both of us are very big on history. We're both, very big we're very big aficionados for certain periods, me with some, him with others, and we have a nice overlap. But both of us know that Ivar the Boneless has kids. And then they're trying to say, well, maybe they were adopted. Like, no.
I know.
No, because nobody would have regarded the adopted kid as a true heir. There would have been a complete war for power after that. That bloodline ensures your rule to a very large extent. That'll keep people. It's like with King Arthur, okay? People were willing to fight for Arthur, not just because he pulled the sword out of the stone, but because he was the rightful heir. So
exactly.
The whole he was being adopted thing, I don't know about that. But hey, we'll get to see, right?
I know. We got to do the review of that Arthur movie.
What Arthur movie?
The last one that came out.
No, that was horrible.
You saw it?
That wasn't King Arthur. That was Merrick and the Magical Sword.
Well, ladies and gents, as always, I give a thumbs up to Vikings. And we say watch it. It's a hell of a show. Okay? And long live Ivar. Peace out.